So today, I'm gonna go through every single NHL team. The way we'll do it is we'll go division by division, top to bottom. I have some nice stats written down for each team. We're gonna start with the Metro, where my favorite team resides, the New Jersey Devils. The Devils last year were probably the most disappointing team in the NHL, so it's good to see them bounce back. Devils 24, 11, and 3. Good for 51 points, 671 points percentage. Team stats are going to be color-coded. Devils are all green. If you're in the top 10 in a stat, it's green, middle of the road, so 11th to 20th is going to be yellow, and then anything below 20th is going to be in the red. 7th in goals for. More surprisingly, first in goals against, getting Brett Pesce, getting Brendan Dillon, Dougie Hamilton coming back from injury, Luke Hughes playing out of his mind. The Devils just recently had a streak of 7 games in a row where they allowed 20 shots or less. This is 5-on-5 expected goals percentage. The percentage of goals your team is expected to have at 5-on-5 play, not the actual amount of goals that they have. Any advanced stats you see on here, there's only 2 of them. Expected goals percent and goals saved above expected. Those are both for Money Puck. Anything above 50 is generally decent for expected goals percent. Means you're expected to score more than you give up, so we'll take an expected goals percent at second. Power play also cooking at second. Jack Hughes, Brett, Heeshear, Nason, and Dougie Hamilton, the first unit. Ever since they took Meyer off the first unit and put Nason there, they've looked really good. PK, solid. Kovacevic and Siegenthaler, Dylan, doing a good job. Player stats. What I pulled here is the top 3-point getters on the team and the number 1 goaltender, just whatever their stats are. If it's like a platoon goalie, I took whoever has played the most games for the year, or who has the better stats, honestly. I tried to make the teams look a little better, you know, I didn't want to be mean to them. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt are the driving force of this team. They're so fast and skate so well that most teams can't handle it. Both well over a point a game, 46 points each. Heeshear, just a real nice season. 18 goals for Heeshear is a pretty big surprise, and he's just out there in every hard situation, playing a good defensive role. Probably get a Selke nomination if I had to guess. I've seen chatter that Markstrom's not playing that well, or he lets in softies and stuff, and I don't know how you could be a Devils fan, watch last season with Vanacek playing goalie, and then see what Markstrom's doing this year and have any complaints. 914 save percentage, 2.11 goals against, and then a 7.8 goals saved above expected. Good for 13th in the league. They're not letting up a ton of shots, but when they do, you know, he's there. He's making good saves. Fitz said it the other day. He said, every game, Markstrom goes out there and gives you a chance to win. As a Devils fan, I couldn't be happier with how they look this season. They look how I thought they were going to look last year. Next, we have one of the biggest surprises, I think. The Washington Capitals. 23, 9, and 2 on the season, 48 points, a 706 point percentage. So by point percentage, actually better than the Devils. Coming into the season, figured the Caps would be competing for a wild card, probably. Last season, they were the last wild card, and I thought they overachieved a lot last season. I like the moves they made in the offseason, though. They brought in Chychrun, Matt Roy, they got Logan Thompson. Even the Dubois move has worked out for them. Really what's happened is just everybody on this team is working out. And if you look at their stats, they're pretty good. And they're doing it without Ovechkin. 3rd in the league in goals for with a 3.68. 5th in the league in goals against, only letting up 2.6 a game. 5th in the league with the expected goals percent, 53.61. So when you watch the Capitals, it's not like they're a fraudulent team. I don't know. When they look good, they pass the eye test, they have the analytics backing them up. When Ovechkin comes back, the power play percent probably will get out of this middle range. And then the PK at 6. Everything going right for the Capitals. Dylan Strome, even without Ovechkin, still racking up points, really driving the team for the last little bit. Logan Thompson's come in and taken the starting job from Charlie Lindgren, and he's probably going to hold it. He's playing real well. 914 save percentage, 2.4 goals against, and a 10.7 goals saved above expected. Good for 5th in the NHL. We'll see if they can hold it. I think they will. I don't see the Caps falling off too much. I don't know if they win the division, but they could. I don't see why getting Ovechkin back would hurt them. So I think they probably keep it up and are right there with the Devils for the rest of the season, competing for the division. I'm going to move to the third place team in the Metro, the Carolina Hurricanes. Perennial good team, 21-13-1 on the season, good for 43 points and a 614 point percentage. And if you look at their stats, all in the green. This team's always an analytical darling because the way they play. They fire shots from everywhere. The system Rod Brendamore plays, they don't let up a lot of shots. And everyone always buys in. The big part of the Hurricanes is they can just plug in guys, and it works. They get rid of Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, Gensel's gone, Teravainen's gone. They lose Nason, they lose all these guys, and they pick up Gostisbehere. They pick up Walker, and you have guys coming up like Jackson Blake, and they just plug them in, and they're going. It's crazy how consistent they are. 5th in the league in goals for, 3.47. Goals against, 2.79. Expected goals, they're 3rd. Power plays cooking, 5th in the league at 26.2%, and PK is 2nd, 85.5%. So the special teams, like they were last year, real strong for the Carolina Hurricanes. You move over to their players, Marty Necas, a guy who in the offseason, everybody was saying, oh, let's trade him. The Hurricanes are going to trade Necas. At the draft, everyone was saying, oh, Necas might be going here, might be going there. I don't know if they're going to sign him. And now they sign him, and he's going to have a monster year. 44 points already for Necas is insane. Aho being consistent again, a point-a-game player. Been the best player on the Canes for a while now. And then Ghost on the blue line, 27 points for a defenseman already. I thought this was a bad move on the Red Wings part. A part of the Yzer plan here to just let Ghost go. Here's the thing with Carolina, though. Same question they have every year. Is their goaltending good enough to get them where they want to be? Kochetkov has been playing mostly because Freddie Anderson's been injured. 900 save percentage, 2.5 goals against average, and a 6.4 goals saved above expected. This is out of 88 guys, so 15th is pretty good. I would think Anderson takes the starting role back, so we'll see if either of those guys can do it. Hurricanes should be a team that stays steady right around this mark, makes the playoffs. People thought the Hurricanes were going to be in big trouble with all the guys they lost, and they just keep on plugging along. Pittsburgh Penguins. 16, 15, and 5, good for 37 points and a 514 points percentage on the year. A team that started out really slow and looked like they could be in for a long season, but last month or so have picked it up. The big issue early in the year, if we go to the stats, look at that goals against. 3.64 a game, 31st in the league. Goaltending was really letting them down. Jari got sent down earlier in the year. It was pretty ugly. 15th in goals for, 3.08. It's about right. They don't have a ton of depth. Expected goals, again, right in the middle. But good special teams. 24.5% on the power play, good for 7th. And penalty kill, 82.4%, good for 9th. If we go over to the players, no surprise Crosby leading them in points because age does not matter for Crosby. Dude's going to be 40 years old and he's still going to put up a point a game. Crosby playing with Raquel. Raquel having a good year. 16 goals, 13 assists, good for 29 points. And then Malkin also 29 points, 7 goals, 22 assists. They traded for Tomasino, try to help with some depth. We'll see what happens. If the Penguins want to make another deal, maybe get a little more depth scoring. I think the Penguins can compete for the wild card. They have enough talent. It's probably gonna come down to, this last person here. Can Jari bounce back? Obviously big struggles this year. 885 save percentage, 3.47 goals against average, and a negative 6.5 goals saved above expected. So when goals saved above expected goes into the negative, that means he's saved less goals than the analytics would expect him to save. So not good when you see a negative number usually, and that's 79th in the league. I don't know if there's a move out there for a goaltender for the Penguins. I think they're probably going to ride Jari and see what happens. Probably right where I expected them to be, competing for that second wild card spot, just because they don't have the depth or the goaltending. Next up, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Columbus obviously coming into the season having to deal with the tragedy of Johnny Gaudreau. There was no expectations around this team. I put no expectations on this team and just wanted them to honestly get through the year, have the players do the best they can with the situation. But they've honestly played pretty well. 15, 15, and 6, 36 points on the year. And they're 500. They're NHL 500. It's a little different than being actually 500 for anyone who doesn't know. It's based on your amount of points in the amount of games. So they played 36 games, they have 36 points. So in the NHL, that's 500, even though they've only won 15 out of those 36 games. But yeah, the Blue Jackets scoring a lot of goals. That's not the issue. 3.31 goals against, or goals for per game, good for 9th. If you told me that Columbus was going to be a top 10 team in goals for at around the halfway mark of the season before this year started, I would have looked at you real funny. But then it starts to get a little tough. Goals against 3.63. Expected goals percent. This shouldn't be red. This should be yellow. Ignore that being red. They're 19th. So it's like, it's not great because it's 4. Maybe because I saw 47. I made it red. Power play 19.2%. Good for 19th. And penalty kills 74%, 27th. So they're struggling on the PK. A couple guys having real strong seasons on the Blue Jackets. Kirill Barchenko, a breakout year, 14 goals, 26 assists, 40 points, over a point a game. Zach Werenski on the blue line, 39 points in 36 games. 11 goals, 28 assists. Werenski right now probably getting some Norris votes, if I had to guess. I don't know if he wins it, but he might be nominated right now. And then Monahan. I was hoping Monahan would have a good year. 13 goals, 20 assists, 33 points. So good to see him playing well. And then this is probably the biggest issue for the Blue Jackets. Elvis Merzlikins is their main goalie. They just don't really have a guy that you'd probably consider a bona fide #1 goaltender. Merzlikins 890 save percentage, 3.09 goals against, and a negative 3.7 goals saved above expected. 69th in the league. Nice. I don't know if the Blue Jackets have the depth or the goaltending to push for that second wild card spot. They also are really bad on the road. They're really good at home. So they're one of those teams that the splits are kind of funny. I don't think they'll get into the playoffs. Probably a little bit below 500. I don't think they'll be 500 by the end of the year, but good story so far. Next up, the Philadelphia Flyers. 15, 16, and 4, 34 points on the year. A 486 points percentage. Our first team below 500 on the year. Goals for right in the middle. 17th, 3.00 a game. Goals against, real ugly. 3.66 a game. That's 32nd in the league. For those who don't know, there's 32 teams in the NHL, so that's last. Expected goals 50.81. They're expected to have more goals than their opponents. They're last in the league in goals against. The goaltending's probably letting you down. Power play, not very good either. 15.6%, 27th in the league. And the PK, 77.8, good for 21st. You look over at the players. Konechny, still their best player, has been for years. 16 goals, 25 assists, 39 points. A nice season for Konechny. And then the rookie, Michkov, which is probably looking like the steal of the draft, where he fell to 7th. 11 goals, 16 assists, 27 points. Michkov has cooled off like the last month or so after a really hot start. And the Flyers have also cooled off. They might be going as Michkov goes. It might kind of be one of those kind of things. I think the Flyers coming into this season weren't expected to make the playoffs, weren't expected to really even compete for a playoff spot. I think last year that they were there till the last day of the season was more of a, John Tortorella gets more out of his teams than you would think. And it's not great for the guys long term usually, or a lot of players come to resent Tortorella, at least what it seems. Yeah, the big issue for the Flyers is the goaltending. Samuel Erson's the goalie that's played the most for them. He was hurt a little bit. Fedotov was playing, but Erson, 872 save percentage, 3.28 GAA, and a negative 11.8 goals saved above expected. That is last in the NHL, so the goals against being last makes sense when your goalie's last in goals saved above expected. See, analytics works. I think the Flyers are still in rebuild. They'll probably be, waiting for the draft lottery. The next team, one that puts a smile on my face, I gotta say, New York Rangers. The dumpster fire has arrived. Last season went to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. This year find themselves 16, 17, and 1, 33 points under 500. Boy, what has happened here? Coming into the season, I thought this was going to be the last year of the Rangers window. They had a bunch of free agents, and I figured they would push really hard this year. They'd try to make moves to add guys at the deadline, and they would go all in on the Stanley Cup, and then this would happen next season. The Rangers would fall apart. But it's arrived early. It's a Christmas miracle. Obviously, a lot of drama around this team this year. Traded their captain, Jacob Trouba. Drury's publicly calling out guys on the team, saying guys will be moved. It looks like there's resentment from the locker room against Drury. I don't know what the move is that fixes this team. Rangers 22nd in the league in goals for, so they're just not getting the scoring. Goals against, honestly, this is Shesterkin boosting them up to 15th. Without Shesterkin and Quick, they would be in the bottom half of the league easily. Expected goals. This has been an issue for years with the Rangers team. Anytime I've ever talked about them, if you guys listen to me yap about the Rangers, I'd always talk about how they're really bad 5-on-5 and carried by goaltending and power play. I'm not the only person that's said it. That's always been a criticism of this team. Power play, 20th in the league, 18.7%. Probably a big reason why they are where they are. Guys like Zabinajad and Kreider feasted on the power play last year, and it's just not happening this year. Penalty kill, still very good. 85.3%, third in the league. Again, you have Igor Shesterkin. Your goaltender a lot of times is your best penalty killer. Move over to the player stats. Panarin, 15 goals, 22 assists, 37 points. Panarin's still doing what he's got to do. He just doesn't have a lot of help. Next on the team, Adam Fox, the D-man. One of the best defensemen in the league. 1 goal, 25 assists, 26 points. Your next forward is going to be Will Cooley. 11 goals, 13 assists, 24 points. Will Cooley's having a great year. This is looking like the best draft pick the Rangers have had in a really long time. Go to Shesterkin, the backbone of the team. Got the monster contract deserved. Because without Shesterkin, I don't know where this team is. 913 save percentage, 2.91 goals against average. That's not his fault because Shesterkin has a 13.5 goals saved above expected. That is third in the National Hockey League. For my money, Shesterkin, I think, is the best goalie in the league still. It's either him or Hellebuck. I'm probably taking Shesterkin. If you watch the Rangers and how bad their defensive breakdowns are and what this team lets through on the rush and what Shesterkin has to deal with on a nightly basis, that guy has a tough job. So I don't think the Rangers are going to completely collapse. I think they'll hang around. I don't picture them collapsing to like bottom 5 team. Do they buy at the deadline? I don't know. Does Drury have a job at the deadline? I also don't know. So we'll see what happens. The last team in the Metropolitan Division, your New York Islanders. 13, 15, and 7, 33 points on the year, a 471 points percentage. My God, do the Islanders love losing in overtime. I think they had 16 overtime points last year, or loser points, which got them into the playoffs. Roster remained largely the same. They brought in Duclair, but other than that, not much has changed from last season, where a lot of other teams have probably improved. So I think that's why the Islanders find themselves struggling. And if you look at the statistics, there's a lot of red. Islanders just not scoring goals. 2.6 goals for per game, 27th in the league. Goals against, letting up more goals than you'd expect from a team with Sorokin and Varlamov on the back end. 3.2, which is 23rd in the league. Expected goals percent, 49.66, which is honestly a little better than I thought they were. From watching the Islanders on the eye test, I really didn't think they would be in the middle of the league. I thought they'd be more towards the bottom. Maybe it's just because the Islanders just collapse in the third period, and they usually play a strong first 2 periods. The Islanders' real issue, though, when we look at the special teams, last in the league in power play and last in the league in penalty kill. A 64.4 penalty kill is beyond abysmal. I don't even understand how you can have a 64.4 penalty kill percentage. You still got 4 guys on the ice. It's not like nobody's out there. Let's try to do something. Something has to change with the special teams if the Islanders have any hope of trying to rebound and chase that wild card spot. Move over to the player stats. Anders Lee actually having a very good year. Parking himself in front of the net, doing what Anders Lee does. 13 goals, 14 assists, 27 points. Palmieri continues to be a player that you can rely on for like 50 points every year. 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points. Bo Horvat, 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points. You'd probably want to see more out of Horvat. Obviously, with Barzal being out, Duclair out for a period of time, a lot of injuries to the defense, that has hurt the Islanders. Sorokin probably also not having the season you want to see from Sorokin, numbers-wise. I don't know if this is all on Sorokin. He's getting hung out to dry a little bit with some of the way their defense has been playing. 898 save percentage, 2.95 goals against, and a negative 1.8 goals saved above expected. But I think he's a better goalie than what those numbers say. I think he'll be okay. I don't think they're going to, but I really think the Islanders need to sell and get more youth in this team. You have a lot of older guys, a lot of guys that are tied up for long-term contracts. I don't even see the Islanders getting into the playoffs this year. I think this is the year they finally don't squeak in, unless, you know, they rattle off like 12 or 13 more overtime losses the rest of the year, which the Islanders love to do. Yeah, but that wraps up the Metro. Biggest surprise, obviously, is how the Rangers are playing. Caps, also a big surprise that they're at the top of the division, looking like one of the better teams in the league. Other than that, kind of shaking out how I would expect the Metro to shake out this year.